Are we Yep. Hello and good evening, and welcome back from the summer of 2024 into the burgeoning autumn of 2024. My name is Stephen Cowham. I'm the leader of the London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham. And I'd like to begin by welcoming the Cabinet and others in attendance at the September Cabinet meeting. Can I ask everyone to introduce themselves, starting with my left, which is Councillor Sharon Holder, and then we'll work around.
Hello, I'm Councillor Sharon Holder, Cabinet Member for Public Realm.
Councillor Wesley Harcourt, Cabinet Member for Climate Change and Ecology.
I'm Sir Arkham, Cabinet Member for Enterprise and Skills.
Hello, Councillor Francis Ume, Cabinet Member for Housing and Homelessness.
Good evening, Councillor Rowenery, Cabinet Member for Finance and Reform.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Alex Sanderson. I'm the Deputy Leader with responsibility for children and education.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Rebecca Harvey, Cabinet Member for Social Inclusion and Community Safety.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Andrew Jones. I'm Cabinet Member for the Economy.
And good evening, I'm Councillor Bora Kwan, Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care and Health.
We're kindly joined by Sharon Lee, who's the Chief Executive, and Grant Degg, who's the Director of Legal Services and is also our Monitoring Officer. And I'd like to welcome Councillor Johnny Alford, who is the representative from the London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham's official opposition. Welcome. If you are agreeing to participate in this meeting, then you are also agreeing to be broadcast on the Council's YouTube channel. So please note that. What I will then now move to is the first item on the agenda. So that is item number 1. No surprise there. It's the minutes. Any additions, any changes to the minutes? In that case, are they agreed? Thank you very much. And apologies to absence. I can't see there are any, as everybody has just said they're here. So please note that. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? That's a very firm no. In which case we move quickly on to the provisional revenue outturn report for 2023-2024. And I'll hand you over to our very capable Cabinet Member for Finance and Reform, Councillor Ree.
Thank you very much, too kind. This report summarises the Council's spending over the financial year 2023 to 2024. It's news to nobody, but this is a very difficult time for local government. Anyone reading the newspapers this morning will have seen new research showing a £4 billion black hole in terms of council finances, as well as the figure of 1 in 4 councils that may need to issue Section 114 notices in the coming years. I just wanted to take this opportunity to reassure the residents of Hammersmith and Fulham that in this council, the finances are managed in a prudent and sensible way. At a time when so many other people are struggling. Actually, last year, we managed to run a budget surplus. So while most councils are taking money out of their reserves, we're actually putting money into ours to protect us in the event of a rainy day in the future. We're able to do all of this whilst protecting frontline services, avoiding cuts to the services that residents rely on, as well as maintaining all those things that make Hammersmith and Fulham such a unique borough to live in, things like free adult social care, things like free meals for school children, things like the law enforcement team and our comprehensive council tax support system. Now, this is only possible because of this council's ruthlessly financially efficient approach to managing budgets. And so I wanted to thank all of the officers across the council who manage budgets and all of my cabinet colleagues who've done such a fantastic job in such difficult circumstances. Not just because she's sitting next to me, but I want to pay particular tribute to Councillor Ume and her work managing the housing revenue account, where we've managed to eliminate the structural deficit over the course of the last couple of years. And I'm sure that Councillor Alford will want to ask about that in a moment or so.
Great. Thank you very much. I can't stress enough how many grey hairs appear on our heads because of the harrowing financial situation faced by local government. I know many of my colleagues, particularly those across the United Kingdom, are deeply worried about the state of financial affairs, and the fact that so many councils are going into serious financial problems as such that they have to do a 114 notice is indicative of all the many failings of austerity. So within that context, I do think we should pay particular tribute to Councillor Ree and Savinda Kelsey, our finance director, who are on it. I would reiterate the call to everybody in every department that we have a duty to deliver our savings targets. Indeed, I'm of the view that we should not making any growth bids if we haven't delivered savings targets. And that is my position. Are there any questions to Councillor Ree, or indeed anybody else on the Council's finances on item number 4? Sure.
I mean, I think you could almost replay everything I say each time. I mean, I'm very glad that Councillor Rees managed to balance the HRA account. Obviously, when we come to the future HRA account, I've got a few concerns, because I know what a difficult time it is, and I am concerned for the future. I'll deal with that when we get to that next part of the agenda.
Well, I sensed there was a little bit of a compliment in there somewhere, Councillor Alford, so thank you.
I know. Councillor Rees this evening.
Yep.
I don't think I've been in anywhere unpleasant at all.
No, I didn't say. I said quite the opposite. I said thank you for the compliment.
That you managed to get it to balance.
You certainly have, and I was.
As you know, I keep on going about it to make sure it balances, because it worries me greatly.
Yes, I can only welcome your insights and compliments. I would add, I would add that the structural problems in the HRA are long-standing. You know, it was very popular politics when George Osborne froze council rents from going up. You know, from a political point of view, it might have looked good to an awful lot of tenants and residents in council housing, but what it also did was deny HRAs of any increases. And as inflation, and we've seen record inflation in the last 5 years, bit into those HRA budgets, combined with Brexit and the pandemic, and indeed the war in Ukraine, have all had effects on building supplies and maintenance, then I think anyone managing a housing maintenance budget will have faced significant challenges. And that, I can't underline enough how much that is. But the fact that despite all of that, Councillor Ree and Councillor May have made such progress is genuinely something I'm grateful for. And I'd like to also thank Richard Sway, who's the Director of Housing, for the work he's doing in turning around what was a very weak service, which caused all of us some concern. So I think that's the point on that. And thank you again for the comments on that. Any other questions? In which case, we stay with Councillor Ree on item number 5, a capital programme. Oh, sorry, is that noted? Provisional revenue outturn report. Is that noted and agreed? Yeah. Okay. Item number 5. Here we are.
Thank you very much. Again, this report focuses on the last financial year, this time looking at the capital budget, a total of £185 million spent on projects ranging from new affordable housing to our CCTV network and improving our highways, generally making this a pleasant borough to live in, something that we're going to carry on doing as part of our 4-year capital programme.
Any questions on the capital programme? In that case, is that noted and agreed? Yeah. Item number 6, Rowan.
Thank you very much. My favourite paper of the year, the Treasury Management Outturn Report. So this provides an overview of our Treasury management over the previous financial year. I want to pay special tribute to Phil Triggs and his team, who've been operating in a very difficult environment when it comes to managing money at the moment. But they've done an excellent job. Despite this, we've managed to remain within all of our Treasury limits. We've met all of our prudential indicators. We launched the largest ever UK government, local government green bond over the course of the last year, and we've reduced the council's overall levels of borrowing.
Councillor Alford.
I'd just like a little bit of more information on your green bond and how successful it has been and how much you've raised.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've had 2 tranches of the green bond now. over the last year and a half. We've raised £1.7 million so far. We've set a limit of 5 million, which would be more than any other council has ever raised, and that goes towards local projects that deal with climate change mitigation issues, that promote active transport, and funds green projects in the borough.
Right. Any more questions? In which case, is that report agreed? And then we are on to the revenue budget, item number 7, still with Councillor Ree.
Thank you. Yes, last one from me. Thank you for your patience. This is the month 2 revenue budget monitoring report, looking at spending as of month 2 of the current financial year. Obviously, this report notes a forecast overspend, although there are mitigations in place, and we'll continue monitoring all budgets across the council over the course of the year.
Councillor Alford.
Raise my HRA again, because I can see the figures again. I have had a briefing for which I say thank you very much, because it's much easier when you had a full briefing. Obviously, I appreciate that, how is the word you're going to have? You have contingencies, but I am worried how close, if your contingencies don't work, how far we're going to wipe out our reserves on the HRA. I know Mr. Rees, Councillor Rees has assured me that I shouldn't worry, but I am worried, and I think I'd like to place that on record, that I have deep concerns because of the problems, you know, the ongoing problems with the repairs, compensation. That's a very heavy debt that's coming out of the HRA. And it doesn't seem, which worries me, the fact that we don't seem to be able to predict how much more compensation we're going to pay. It doesn't seem to have become a finite. I had hoped, wished, don't think it's going to happen, that we would have some clearer idea of how much we could forecast. And we don't seem to be able to do that.
Look, I think it's an important role of the opposition to put such things down on record. And so I welcome the fact that you've taken the trouble to look into it and to express your concerns. I think that's important we take that on board. I would say to you that your concerns are always our concerns, in as much as we are determined to have the best council housing in Britain. And as you know, there have been multiple problems over many years. We had a contract that was signed in 2013 with Mighty that was meant to go to 2023, and we managed to get out of it, but actually it deliberately underfunded the planned maintenance of the council housing, and that meant for a large proportion of the time we were in office, we were struggling to find extra ways of providing planned maintenance. As you will know, as a former cabinet member for housing, Councillor Alford, if you don't do planned maintenance, you end up with more reactive repairs. And given the state of the building market, that's very hard to get high quality providers. And we had struggled to do that consistently, particularly the fact that we managed to get out of the Mighty contract in 2019, just before we were hit by a pandemic. And that was unfortunate that coincided with that contract ending and us bringing in new people. So it's been a bumpy ride, and that has had a cost. But the solution to all these things is tight financial stewardship, along with professional management of the assets. And both those things, I'm confident, are in place. Councillor Ume's leadership on this has been, quite frankly, outstanding. I said to her when she took on this job, you've got the most difficult job in the cabinet. And she didn't shirk from that. She's raised from that. And along with Councillor Ree acting as a member of the team and ensuring the finance has been robust, we've managed to get both the HRA and the repairs and the housing service into a much better state. So I can assure you that we're on it. And if Councillor Ree says don't worry, then I would take that literally. But I think you're right to put down concerns, and those concerns are duly noted.
And as you know, every HRA monitoring account comes in, I will be here saying my concerns, because it's all very well. I mean, we have had a problem which is not under our watch, so we can't be blamed for the contractors, some of the contractors you appointed in the past, which did not fulfill their obligations. I know only too well the contractors are a nightmare, but that has been done on your watch, that some of the contractors were perhaps did not perform the standard that was acceptable to anyone.
That's certainly true. The recent contractors who took on the work during the pandemic after the contractor we inherited from, I mean, it's not really about blame, but after the contractor we inherited under the former administration, which you remember, that was a very big challenge. And that period, 2019 to earlier last year, was a struggle for all of us, and I think is well documented. I think the overall challenge on council housing is, for a long time, I don't believe it's still there now, by the way, but there was an ideological difference on what's the role of council housing in a place like Hammersmith and Fulham. And we did inherit a plan, and I remember talking to developers about which estates they wanted to develop, and they were very surprised when I said none. But there was a plan to demolish most of the council estates and rebuild them as mixed communities, the most famous of which is the West Kensington and Gibbs Green estates. So because of that plan, the budget that was assigned over a 10-year period to the original contract was well insufficient, and that has caused a structural problem, which it's taken us a long time to catch up on. But I can assure you we're making progress, and we will continue to do it, and our council residents will be always a priority for us.
And I think there's just one more point, which I know, again, we're all aware of, but I'm sure Councillor Ume is particularly aware of, is our homelessness and the rising budget on that. Now, I know it hits all boroughs, but and managing it, because we seem to be having increasing, and there are all sorts of reasons, and I'm not going to the ideological reasons of why it comes about and the background, but that is a figure that's worrying me as well, the amount we're having to spend on temporary accommodation.
Yes, well, I wrote a report on this for the Labour Party, which went into considerable detail about the private rented sector. And there are two private rented sectors. There's the private rented sector that people who pay out of their own salaries, and there's private rented sector for homeless people, and the quality of housing in that sector and the quantity of it are both challenged. In many cases, there's all sorts of criminality and all sorts of people running private renter sector homes. And in other cases, there are good landlords trying their best against limited budgets. But to say it needs reform is an understatement. And as you know, there are councils who have already cited the temporary accommodation budget as a reason for 114 notices. And we certainly will, we certainly are not in that position. But it is an alarm for everybody in local government. And I think there's probably political consensus at the Local Government Association on the need to have a different settlement on the temporary accommodation budget and its approach to homelessness. I do think there is something ideological. I do think homelessness is an ideological issue, and I think that's one of the points that this government will make significant changes on. Okay, well, given that healthy debate, I would thank you and ask, is this report noted? Next, we then have item number 8, which is Councillor Alex Sanderson, Travel Care and Support Taxi Services.
Thank you. These are two hopefully quite straightforward procurement strategy reports. So this one is seeking approval for the procurement strategy for our taxi portion of our travel care and support taxi service to appoint a provider from September 2025 for a period of 4 years when our current contract comes to an end.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Are there any questions on this item? I would just say well done then, because this was the most controversial issue we dealt with when I first became the council leader. And there's a lot of things learned, but thank you to Jackie McShannon, the Director for Children and Education Services, for putting children first at every point in this procurement. So thank you. Is that item agreed? Agreed. Item number 9, semi-independent living accommodation.
Thank you very much. This is the second procurement paper, this time for semi-independent living services for young people at risk of becoming homeless, 16 and 17-year-old children who are looked after, and care leavers across Hammersmith and Fulham. The current contract ends in April 2025, so this is re-procuring that service. Okay, any questions on item number 9? In which case, is that report agreed? Agreed. Can I then direct you, thank you, to item number 10, to the forward plan of key decisions. Is the forward plan of key decisions noted? In that case, thank you very much. I bring you to an end of the September 2024 Cabinet meeting in the London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham.